So, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I always say, hey, it's Nate Palmer from the Low Carb Hustle podcast. We're home of your $1 million body. Well, what is a $1 million body and why do we talk about it here? And that's what we're going to break down today on the podcast. So, in case you don't know, I have a book called The $1 million Body Method. And in it, we talk about how you can build your own $1 million body because truly, I believe that everyone has a $1 million body. Our bodies are actually probably worth billions of dollars just with how amazing they are, all the technology that we have access to, the healing that we go through on a daily basis, just like these incredible intricacies of your body. So, how do we utilize the technology already innate inside of us to get better results in our fitness, in our energy that translates to the rest of our life and our families, our businesses, etc. So that's what we're going to dive into today on the episode. Now, here's the part that we say all the time. Hey, you listen to the Low Carb Hustle, home of your $1 million body method. Well, we help you get leaner and live longer. My name is Nate Palmer. I've been a coach since 2008, and I've helped over 1,200 people level up their health and fitness. My mission is simple: to show you how to easily drop fat so you can feel lean, strong, and energetic. So if you're ready to dive in to figure out how you can obtain your $1 million body, well, then stick around. Let's do this. So today on the podcast, we're going to be talking a little bit about the $1 million body and three different ways that I think that we can start approaching this. The first is through a foundations. What are the actions that are going to set the foundation for building your $1 million body? Then we're going to talk about $1 million nutrition, and then we're going to talk about $1 million body energy. And I think if we can look at foundations, nutrition, and energy kind of in that order, you can start developing habits that really fit your lifestyle. And like everything I'm going to talk to you about today is just maybe a different spin on things you probably are already familiar with. But my friend John Vroman always says, it's not always about learning something new. It's about remembering something true. So maybe you pick up something from this episode. Maybe it's just a reminder of something that you need to be doing or that you've gotten away from in the past that's delivered results. But either way, I want to provide you with value. And if you're actually looking to check out the book, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Audible. And if you want to get the ebook, I give away a free PDF version or a Kindle version. If you want to read it for yourself, just go to getnatesbook.com and you can download it there. So first of all, what is the $1 million body and why do I talk about it like that? Now, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur basically since 2015 full time. Prior to that, I started off my entrepreneurial journey when I was like 9 years old. I bought 1,000 strings for yo-yos from a store in the mall, in the Phoenix Mall, called Brainstorms, I think. So about 1,000 yo-yo strings. I was really heavy into yo-yoing. And I walked around my neighborhood, knocking in doors and selling each string for $0.25. I think they called a skein of strings. It's like $30. I had to save my money, bought this, and sold these strings for $0.25 to my friends. And so I've been kind of entrepreneurial my whole life. My dad really turned me on to kind of the idea of entrepreneurship. He was giving me the books like The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Next Door, a lot of those types of things, even when I was in middle school and high school. So I was reading that. And even though I was working for a gym, starting off in 2008, as a personal trainer, you're doing a lot of entrepreneurial stuff. You set your own hours, you work with clients that you pick up, you're out prospecting and trying to reach people. So I've been involved in that side of things for a while, and I understood how important it is to have my energy. And so this really came to a head, and I developed this protocol back in like 2012. I was doing a lot of writing at the time. I really like writing. It's been a kind of a strong suit of mine for a while. So I was trying to get into some more publications and get published in different magazines and stuff. So this one magazine called Breaking Muscle approached me and asked me to write an article about nutrition. And so I kind of started going down like the typical bodybuilder rabbit hole: white rice, broccoli, chicken, whatever. But then that's kind of what I was doing at the time. But what I noticed was that I was already like tired. I was just kind of tired all day. I got good results in my fitness and stuff, but like a lot of it was just a slog. So I started changing my own diet up like prior to this to eat in a way that delivered me more energy. Because at the time I was working in Seattle, I was working for this amazing gym called Pro Sports Club. And although it was great, I would work from like 6:30 a.m. until like 7, 8 p.m. at night. And those were just really long days. And I wanted to bring the same energy I had in the morning for my clients to the ones that I had like deep in the PM, because, it's not fair to them to be paying for a personal trainer who's just grumping and slogging his way through the day. And obviously there's days like that, but that shouldn't be the norm. I wanted to have a lot of energy. I wanted to bring a ton of value, just like, be a great reason that my clients would want to get to the gym and be like a fun part of their day. So I started changing my nutrition up a little bit to start building my energy rather than necessarily like building biceps. And what I found was that not only did I get better energy, especially in the PM, but I also started getting better results in my fitness. I was like, okay, might be onto something here. So I wrote an article for this publication called Breaking Muscle called "How to Eat for All Day Energy," and for like 2012, it kind of blew up. I got like lots of comments, lots of things going on the internet, people like responding to it, and I was like, okay, there might be something here. There's a lot of people who are like, this is genius, and a lot of people who are like, this is stupid. And I was like, that sounds like a good combination. So I got a little bit deeper into it. I started studying the science a bit more. And then in 2021, I wrote the book, The $1,000,000 Body Method, based off of things that worked for me, worked for my clients. And I just wanted to put them down to a book. That way, if in 10 years I'm not in fitness anymore, there's still something that exists with that philosophy that maybe someone could pick up and start getting some results. The other thing that I thought was important about the book was that I gave a 28-day plan at the very end. I think a lot of times you read books from coaches and they don't give you the actual information. They try to they tease it. And at the end, they have a call to action to buy their product or whatever. And that's not what I wanted this to be. So I wrote a book that had the information in it, kind of gave everything away, gave away all my secrets. But I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about how I break these out mentally into the foundations, the nutrition, and then the energy, and how you can do the same in your own life and in your own journey. So the first thing I think is the foundations. How do you what's the core philosophy? How do we balance nutrition, exercise, and mindset for your optimal performance? Because at the end of the day, most of us don't have a career in fitness. We don't love going to the gym. Leg day is not our favorite day of the week. If someone asks you what you're doing on Monday, you're probably not saying chest. That's not where most of us live. So what is important to us? Our family, our friends, our social life, our communities, our work, making money, making an impact. Those things drive us and get us out of bed in the morning. And in order to be able to accomplish those, though, I think setting a foundation that starts with physical health and fitness is very, very important. I consider fitness the cornerstone to almost everything that I do. And if I go too long without exercising or working out, my wife will literally kick me out of the house and be like, go get a workout in. You're pissing everyone off. It's just very visceral for me. The release and like the mindset and the peace that it brings me to move. So I want to, make sure that we are honing in on that. The thing I think that people take away from this book is that it's not a big deal. There's not a lot of stuff in here that's like crazy. Get on keto, start doing running marathons, David Goggins, who will carry the boats, that sort of thing. It's all these small, consistent habits that done over time can lead to massive results. And I don't think you can do gigantic, massive things, 75 hard, running ultra marathons, like all these things, they're not accessible for most of us in the long term. So how do we create, instead of one silver bullet, thousands or millions of brass BBs that get the job done and also allow us to sustain the results that we get for the remainder of our life? So these are the foundational routines that I believe set the tone for the day. So there are three things in here that I consider important and what I call the daily investment. So just the dailies, So the first one is an AM routine, and you don't have to have an AM routine that involves getting up and doing 90 minutes in a sauna or doing hot yoga and a cold plunge. You might not have those things or have time to do those things. So for me, an AM routine is just something that has two pieces. Number one, it sets the stage and reinforces who you're becoming. So if you want to be a better parent, listen to a parenting podcast. If you want to be better at making money, listen to something financial, listen to something from Alex Hormozy. If you want to be better at fitness and dominate your health, then listen to this podcast or get your workout in or do something that is going to facilitate who you're becoming. The second thing is that you have to eliminate decision fatigue in the morning. So having a consistent morning routine that you can do over time that doesn't take you any brain power and you don't have to make any decisions during is critical. So starting the day with intention, including a focus on hydration and movement, really primes the body for success. And the way that I do this is in my morning routine. It's so simple. And feel free to add in any sort of journaling, meditation, breath work, cold plunges, stretching, whatever else you want in here. But incorporate these two pieces. This is like very, very simple and something you can do all the time. I talk to people all the time who are like, the biggest thing I got from you is drink water in the morning. And I'm like, that's great. I love that. It's so simple. And if that's what I'm known for, then you know what? That's totally fine with me because more people need that. But the AM routine for me in the book, the daily is 60 seconds of exercise followed up with some water. You can do 60 seconds of explosive exercise and do like 2 cups of water. But if you just get in the 60 seconds of movement, followed up with some water, you're going to feel really good. For the movement, I like to do jumping jacks or toe pops. That's kind of just like jumping up and down on my toes. I don't even leave the ground sometimes. I'm just kind of like moving in place a little bit, bobbing and weaving. Maybe I'll do a little Zumba, maybe do some shadow boxing, but just getting some movement in is really, really good, especially this up and down. So if you're doing that and you have like a rebounder trampoline, your kids have that, awesome. Jump rope, great. You want to do burpees? Well, you're sick, but okay, love you anyways. But doing something like that, or even just arm circles or band pull aparts, just get your body moving. If you look at a cat or a dog, when they first stand up after they were sleeping, they always get up, stretch, move a little bit. And we're not better than dogs. Come on. So get some movement in, get some water in. That's going to set the foundation for your day. And it's something you can do first thing every single day on autopilot. The second thing is the foundational piece for me is a daily gallon of water. I live in Arizona, so it's hot here, so I try to drink more like 2, especially during the summer. But getting in a gallon of water per day is just a great metric to have. Don't take your body weight and divide by 2 and multiply by the square root of your ant's goldfish circumference or something like that. Just don't make it overly complicated, is what I'm saying. Make it simple. A gallon of water is simple. If you get close to that, that's great. That's just something we want to work for. That's have a foundation where we drink a gallon of water every single day. That's fantastic. I like to drink more of it in the beginning of the day too. So I started my day off in the morning with 32 ounces. So that way I'm getting like a quarter of it in, right? Right as soon as I wake up, no problems. And then the third of the foundational pieces is movement. It's 20 minutes of what I consider training. Okay. And training, in the book, I talk a lot about how training to me is something that is measurable that you can improve on over time. But I've kind of reconsidered because I do believe that movement can just be something as simple as walking, and setting PRs while walking is not necessarily sustainable or doable. But if you're getting 20 minutes in of movement of some kind, or you're doing what I call the daily sweat, you're developing a practice where you sweat every single day even if it's just a little bit, that is going to be one of the pieces that you can keep with you for the rest of your life. 30 minutes of movement is not a big deal. 20 minutes is even less, but making that the standard that you operate from is just going to create this little bit of success in your life that you can continue to compound and build upon. And the thing I like about 20 minutes is that sometimes you finish 20 minutes and you're like, that felt good. Let's keep going. So you end up with a little bit longer walk, or you're working out a little bit more. You're taking the kids to the park a little bit more. And then these things just sort of build. It's like the 5-minute rule where, like when I was training for a marathon, I didn't want to do that because running is horrible and I hate it. But I tell myself, just go out. I'm going to run 5 minutes. And if I want to quit at 5 minutes, I can do that. That's totally fine. And usually what happened is by 5 minutes, I'd be warmed up. I'm already out there wearing my shoes, got all the things. And so I'm just like, all right, we're already here. Let's get it done. So 20 minutes is a great place to shoot for, or just I think about that daily sweat. All right. And so those are the foundational pieces. If you can just incorporate those, you're going to be on the right track. But I think now we can get into some of the magic through nutrition. And nutrition doesn't have to be super crazy. Obviously, the less processed your food is, the better you're going to feel. But follow this framework. Follow this super simple framework that I break it up into 3 meals. I don't really believe in snacking. I don't think that's a good idea because I don't want you digesting food all throughout the day. I think that's just a great way to stay in a consumption mode rather than a fat burning mode. And I want to give your body as many opportunities throughout the day to burn fat as humanly possible. So number 2 would be the breakfast. So AM breakfast. And in the book, I think I call it, let's see, I have it right here. The entrepreneur breakfast. I'm talking about the entrepreneur breakfast, the startup lunch, and the CEO dinner. Okay. So breakfast, I love having a high protein, high fat meal with very, very minimal carbs. For most of us, I think this could be like eggs and avocado. If you're going to get a little bit weird, use the leftover meat from last night and do like chicken thighs and almonds. That's a great breakfast. You'll feel really good. It sounds weird, but don't knock it till you try it. My favorite breakfast is like steak with some nut. I think that's just you just feel so good afterwards. It's hard to quantify until you really try it. But then the other one that I always recommend, and I've done for about 10, 12 years straight, is just having a protein shake in the morning. Most mornings I'm doing that. And then there are outliers. I'll make pancakes for my kids on Saturday mornings. But basically for the protein shake, I'm doing 2 scoops of protein. I use the whey from $1 Million Body Labs because it's mine and it's delicious. And then I put in 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I'll put in some almond milk or regular milk. Recently, my mom's been making yogurt. So she brings me like the byproduct, which is liquid whey. So I add that in. And then I'll put in some salt, some ice, blend that bad boy up, satiated till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's awesome. Then we're going to get to lunch. That's your startup lunch. Okay. Startup lunch. That's going to be kind of a lean meal. It's going to be smaller. It's not going to fill you up. It's not gluttonous. There's no wine in the startup lunch. No beers at Chili's, no unlimited breadsticks. But what we want to do is we want to give our body plenty of vital nutrients. So I originally always said vegetables and protein for this. So like that's like a steak salad. Go to Salad and Go and get something there. That's, doing some leftovers from last night, just like some of the meat and some vegetables. But now I've started incorporating more fruits in there as well. So meats and fruits could be a great option. And a lot of people love that. Having an apple and some chicken thighs, great option. And I think that really, if you just are utilizing a batch prep strategy, so if at dinner you are cooking more than enough protein, that way you can roll that into the next lunch or dinner or whatever. It makes your life a lot more simple. You don't have to make a bunch of food or always be going out to eat. But the goal of the lunch is just to give your body plenty of protein, plenty of nutrients without filling you up and making you feel super, super carb heavy, because that's what slows you down in the afternoon. That's why a lot of people get that 3 p.m. slump where they just feel tired and want to lay down. If you can keep your carbs very light, very minimal until dinner, you just feel so much better. So that's why for the fruit, I don't recommend really having like a bunch of pineapple or banana, like apple, orange, berries. Those are great options, full of nutrients, limited in the sugars and the glycemic load. And then the dinner is where it gets fun. It's a CEO dinner. So let's get wild with it. Let's have our wine there if we're going to have something. So we take all of our carbs from the day, we keep them at dinner time, because after you've been walking around, moving, hopefully training a little bit, just been active all day, you've been burning out glycogen stores in your muscles. You've been burning out the glycogen in your liver. That's like the blood sugar that we have for energy. So you have space for new blood sugar. So you have space for the carbs you eat in your body rather than storing them in fat. That's the whole philosophy. Minimize your carbs until dinner, then refill your carb stores at dinner. So it's super simple. It's kind of like a modified, I've heard people call it a cheat or keto approach, because you're basically eating keto during the day, then you're having carbs at night, which is great because it doesn't make you resistant to carbs. So you don't have like a big negative reaction like the person who's been doing keto for 3 months and then has a nachos. So this is a great way to do it. My favorite carbs are going to be like potatoes, sweet potatoes, white rice. And if you like bread, then stay with like a sourdough bread. That's my favorite type of bread. It doesn't seem to impact people from a gluten perspective. So then with that meal, try to eat that 3 hours before bed, más o menos, and then you'll wake up with a lot more energy. You're going to be feeling really good. Those carbohydrates also, just like they do at lunch, they kind of put us into this rest and digest state, which is not great when you got a bunch of phone calls to make, but it is great when you're going to be chilling out with the family, sitting around, chatting, having that kind of that fireside moment, hopefully with the family. That's kind of where I like to be, going on a walk. That's my favorite way to like wrap the day. Then the last section, or the last kind of block I would consider, would be like focus and energy. How do we improve our focus and energy? And there's a couple different ways that we can do this using the daily investments from the $1 Million Body Method. Number one is what I consider the final deposit. So like either right after work or before bed, take a piece of paper, write down on it anything that you are going to need to accomplish tomorrow to make sure that you feel like it was a very successful day. So whether that's pick the kids up, go for a walk, get your workout in, finalize that contract, make 10 recruiting calls, whatever it is, write those things down, take them out of your brain and put them onto a sheet of paper. Utilize that as your external brain. That way your brain is not spinning at night when you should be sleeping. I know a lot of times you're like, you have a great idea or something like that, and it keeps you up because you're like, I'll remember that. And so your brain just stays up like halfway awake. And then in the morning, you still don't remember it, but you didn't sleep well. So take it out of your brain, put it onto a piece of paper, and then move on. Another great thing you can do with that is write down what you'd already accomplished during the day. Because a lot of times we forget, and you get home and you're like, what did I do today? But then you look back and you're like, I had actually a super successful day. I worked out, I trained, I did this in my work. Like I'm feeling really productive. So write those things down too, if you want, especially to keep kind of like a journal of accomplishments, which feels really good to look back on. The second investment in here, I would consider something that we already kind of touched on it with the training piece, but just walking more often is going to give you more energy. If you're hungry, go for a little bit of a walk. Not only can you not go into the fridge when you're walking outside, but it also will help you build energy and it will mute cravings. So anytime you are feeling hungry, tired, cravings, whatever else, do a little bit of movement, put a couple push-ups on the ground, a couple toe pops, some jumping jacks, go for a walk. You're going to feel a lot better. You're going to be a lot less hungry. And then the third piece I'd put in here, it'd be fasting. A weekly fast is a great way to build productivity, improve your energy and your focus, and then keep your body in more of like a lean, fat burning state. Because if you're fasting once a week, you are giving that a full day to your body to reset factory settings, a full day to be burning fat, a full day to be eliminating toxins. It's just so great for longevity. It's great for fat loss. It's great for focus. And if you're fasting on a weekly basis and really like pushing off the temptations of food and like just kind of the over inundation we get with processed foods and things like that, you're just going to be in such a more savage mindset. And then someone's like is going to ask you to do something you don't want to do. You're going to be able to put up boundaries because you just are in a space where you've been able to say no to food, which you're constantly being bombarded with messages about eating Big Macs. And to be able to resist that just builds mental fortitude and toughness in a way that not much else does, because if you're an alcoholic and you get sober, you can avoid bars. If you are addicted to food, like we all are in some capacity, you can't really just avoid food. You have to eat at some point. So this is a great way to kind of create that balance and create some structure around how you eat that still goes back to improving your body composition, improving your longevity, giving you more energy and focus, and just generally making you a badass. You know what I mean? So it's simple, but these things really add up. And I think for that, 24-hour fast is great. If you're doing intermittent fasting, that's great, totally cool. But do incorporate a 24 or 48 every so often. Even if you're doing a 48 once a month, that's fantastic. And by a 48, what I would mean is you stop eating on Tuesday night and then you eat again on Thursday night. By a 24, I'm talking about stop eating Tuesday night and then eat again on Wednesday night. It's simple ways to do that. So key takeaways from this is, number one, start with the foundations. Start with the AM routine, have a gallon of water every day, and then make sure you're getting the daily sweat in. Then we move into the nutrition, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Basically, the rule on this is keep your carbs low until dinner, and then have sweet potato, rice, sourdough bread, something like that. Fruit salad has been going hard for me this summer. And then number three is start building up your focus and your energy using some fasting, walking, and continuing to do the final deposit at night before you go to sleep for some additional clarity. So it's super simple, right? There's not a lot to that you probably have never heard before, but maybe there's something in there that triggered it for you that you can start doing again, get back into, or just maybe make some small tweaks to your lunchtime meal or your AM routine that's going to deliver big dividends to you if you can do it consistently. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to give me a follow on Instagram at _million-dollar-body. I'm always trying to put out helpful content there, synthesize things down into very simple, actionable bits, and then posting videos of the fam and cute puppies. So hopefully you're having an amazing rest of your day. If anyone else could benefit from this, please share this podcast with them. Drop me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That super helps me out because I don't get paid to do this. I'm just doing it because I want you to have some great information that will help improve your life. So if you could help me out by throwing me a like or a comment on that, I'd appreciate you for the rest of your life. All right. Love you. Talk to you soon.